This is about an installation of TrafficMaster Gladstone Oak laminate flooring. I've looked at a number of other videos. I've kind of combined everything that was good and bad about those. So the first thing we do is figure out how much you're going to need. So we do the layout. I've got a lot of different areas. So 12.6 by 18 is 225. 2 times 4.5, 9, 28, so on and so forth. I came out with 400 square feet, 25 square feet per box, gives me 16 boxes. So the next thing I do is I'm going to remove all the base molding, and if you use Alex Plus, which is great for molding, use the razor to cut the top of the molding off, because if you don't cut that caulking off, you're going to rip off some of the sheetrock. And don't use caulking to hold this to the wall, because next time you take it off, it'll tear off your sheetrock. So I use the 2-inch brad nails. I'm just going to use a pair of dikes to cut those off. So this is the list of tools. Buy this flooring installation kit. It comes with that metal bracket, which helps get into the hard to get places to pound your flooring together. This tapping block, which has a groove in it, and the wedges. Now the important thing about the wedges, not only does it give you the proper distance to space it out, but it also gives you something to push up against. So use the blue tape to tape those against the wall. Other things you need, I use a rubber mallet, pencil, tape measure, basic. Constantly sweeping, making sure everything's clean. Knee pads, and cutting tools. Some people, you can get away with just using a jigsaw. I use a rip saw and a table saw. The rip saw and the table saw, the blades are about 1/2 inch space teeth. You don't need a plywood blade, because when you cut, say here's a cut here, it's a little bit rough right here from the rip saw, but that piece is not going to show. So after you get your base molding off, the next is floor preparation. I already have vinyl flooring, so I'm not going to put down a vapor barrier. Now, when you walk on this, you can hear just a little tiny bit of crunching. I mean, it's not that noticeable, but if you're really picky about it, I would go with Pergo. It's like a rubber-based, very thin but durable. I would put that down first. So the next thing you do is you want to start from the back left corner. Make sure your tongues are against the wall, but you're going to cut your tongues off. And when you look at the piece, make sure you know which is, so that's the groove, it's kind of curved under, and that's the tongue. So make sure you recognize which is the tongue and which is the groove. The groove is always going to go on the outside. And the reason you cut the tongue off against the wall is because when it's up against that wedge, you don't want the wedge to move. And especially on the vertical wall, because that's where the pressure is going to be. You're going to be pushing hard against that. So cut that groove off. You can use a table saw or a jigsaw. So then once you start with the tongue side against the wall, groove side, I do 1 row at a time, all the way down. And I'm going to explain to you in a little bit the reason why we do that. So after you tape the wedges against the wall, you want to keep brushing the floor, because you always want to have that 5/8 inch gap everywhere possible, because people will complain about buckling. It's because you don't have your 5-inch gap. Alright, now I'm going to show you how I do the installation. I've seen different methods. I'll show you the method that does not work, and that is putting in this first. This does not work. If you put that piece in like that, I've seen people do this. then click it down, and then try to drive it that way. That doesn't work. So the way to do it is you put this side in first. And you get it so it's pretty close. So the tongue is pretty close to there. Then just lay it down. And then you tilt it up. It's going to move the rest of the boards a little bit. But once you lift it up, there, look at that. Just clicks right in. Bang, zoom, already in. And then when you get to the end, so let's just say this is the wall right here. And you want to go in. An easy way to measure, say if this is the wall, is flip the board around this way. This is where the groove is. And measure it so that edge is right up against there. Make sure you have your 5/16 gap against the wall. And then, so actually this is the wall here. That's where the tongue is. Then this is where you draw your pencil line. So make sure that it's got your 5/16 gap. And the groove side is that way. Take your pencil, and all you do is draw a pencil line. And then I cut it. Then when you come back, that piece will fit. Just like that. Now I'm going to show you this thing about the rubber mallet. Rubber mallet and the tapping block. This is where the damage occurs most of the time. So after you get it in, just give it a little tap. Now I'm going to show you my own mistake. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah. In focus. Alright. So this piece where it's delaminated a little bit, that was my fault. Because I pounded too hard using this block. So be careful. Even though that's got a groove there, if you pound too hard, it's going to crack the edge of this. Now this stuff is pretty durable, but it's hard. So once you do that, just be careful. But if you do it right, it should go in pretty easily. And the reason I don't stagger, because when you come and put like the next piece in, and you go to lift up, way down there, it's going to probably stay in place more than this side. So then, I just do one row at a time. And then afterwards, when I put the base molding back in, the base molding is going to be down on the floor, pressed down. And then I'm going to drive my brad nails in. Now I'm going to explain why I used the TrafficMaster instead of over others. I didn't really care about price. I mean, I would have spent $2 or $3 per foot. But I wanted the color. This is the Pergo. Now I kind of like that color, but when they mixed it up between that and that, it was too varying. So I definitely like the color of this floor here. Wish it would have been a little bit lighter. And then the durability test. I took this sample home, tried to key it, and I couldn't. And I've seen videos, guys using steak knives, really gouging it. So it's really hard, durable. And then as far as the water test, I saw somebody soak this in water overnight. And then a reason why I went with this, I had this TrafficMaster, the Allure vinyl flooring, and this held up. This is 13 years old. And the reason I didn't go with it, because it wasn't quite original. And then in the last couple of months, this has started to lift up. So even though it lasted almost 13 years, I wanted to go with something that's going to click down and not peel back up. And as far as the buckling goes, people complain about buckling. That's because you're not putting your 5/16 spacing anywhere and everywhere. If you got chipping, that's going to come up later. That's because you were not careful enough when you were hammering this, putting it in place. So hopefully this is a great product. The only thing I probably would have done differently is give the Pergo rubber matting a chance. Thank you.